Well, good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here. I've been Information Commissioner for almost a year now, so I should know what I'm doing. This is a really good opportunity to talk to a very important constituency, those of you who are having to deal with the questions of administering information rights in the public sector in lean times. It's a wonderful venue. I feel you're being slightly shortchanged because at the Barbican Arts Centre, in a theatre like this, you should get some art movie or leading edge French entry for Cannes, and instead you've got me. But it's a much better venue than where I was last week talking to an industry audience in one of those city livery halls, the Armourers' Hall, and the place is covered with spears and halberds and swords and coats of arms and so on. And I was embarrassed because, unlike this place where I've got a countdown digital clock, so I really should know when to shut up, I was relying on my watch and the battery had just died. So I said to my neighbour, now this is a problem, can you watch, I see there's a clock on the wall there, and I can't quite, can you tell me what time it says? And he said, I think you'll find it's a shield. So here we are, very much in the 21st century, which is right for information rights. Over the past few weeks, as public servants, we've all been in Purdah, haven't we? And you would have thought that it would be easy now because we're out of Purdah, but we find, at least in my case, that we're in limbo because we're waiting to see exactly what the policies are, what the direction is going to be of the new government, and indeed, in my case, which minister I'll be dealing with. I know the Secretary of State is the Secretary of State for Justice, Ken Clarke, but I'm still waiting to see who is the key Minister of State that I'll be dealing with. So it's still a little uncertain. So I thought rather than try and gaze in the crystal ball and talk policy, let's just talk about the reality that impacts on all of us, the realities that are driven by the nature of the information society and technology. Because after all, there are things that technology can do and is doing that impact on our business, and we all have to respond. You in the public service, we at the Information Commissioner's Office, to make things work for citizens. After all, individuals are delighted that they can get information, usually free, very good communication online. They've got access to goods and services at competitive prices, and they are empowered as citizens, if they wish, to engage with administration and politics and government. And government, whether it's government with a big G or whether it's local government or local administration, is of course delighted that it now has a new tool for citizen engagement, to explain policies, to consult and to involve. It's a tool for much greater effectiveness for delivering services in a more joined up and efficient way, faster with less paper and, one hopes, less grief, and of course that leads to greater efficiency. So it should all be a good thing. But there is, I think, an ambivalent feeling that we all share about the good aspects and some of the dark side of what technology can do. We feel good about purchasing online, but we're worried about scams and computer crime. We feel reassured about security, but we're worried about surveillance. We love CCTV when it's watching other people, but we hate it when it's watching us. And we love social networking, but we're also worried about the dark side, stranger danger. And I think all of us need to focus on stakeholder expectations. And the fundamental expectation of citizens is that they want to be respected. Whether they're citizens or consumers, they want organizations to think of them as individuals and individuals who have rights. And we would do well to think of them as demanding citizens who not only are increasingly aware of their rights, and that's clear from the tracking surveys we do about information rights awareness, but are demanding and frankly stroppy and have the tools for levelling with the powers that be. And if we don't understand that and respect that, we simply make rods for our own back at very least, and we can tie ourselves up in knots with an informed and empowered citizenry who have rights under the Data Protection Act, under the Freedom of Information Act, and the various regulations that go alongside. Information rights, whether in data protection or freedom of information, are there, they're real, they're being associated. We all have to come to terms with that and work out how we deal with it. And how we're dealing with it at the Information Commissioner's Office, and this has been the burden of my song over my first year, is making sure that we are up for it and up to it, and that we're building the platform that can make for a really effective regulator of information rights going forward. Almost every descriptor that has the prefix re in it, we at the ICO are doing. We're re-energizing, refocusing, restructuring, rebranding. That's why you haven't seen me out on public platforms shouting the odds about policy. I've been very busy replumbing the place, if you like, or rewiring it. And it's been a story of joining up, shaping up, wising up, and speeding up. Let me tell you about it. First of all, our mission is very clearly making the link between our data protection obligations and our freedom of information obligations. It's simply about information rights. I don't see the conflict that our chairman referred to. I do see a balance. There's always a balance to be struck about the I won't say the right to know, but the demands of accountability and transparency and the imperative of privacy and the protection of personal information. These issues are not black and white. There's always a balance to be struck. That's what we all have to do when we're deciding about freedom of information requests or subject access requests. And our mission is to uphold information rights in the public interest, encouraging openness by public authorities and privacy for individuals. That's what we're for. And our vision is of an organization which in pretty short order will be recognized by our peers as being the authoritative arbiter of information rights. And we will be judged by people like you who know the business, who understand whether or not the Information Commissioner's Office is customer-focused, is efficient, is effective, all the things that we've set out in our draft corporate plan. It has meant restructuring the organization so that instead of being designed in two parallel ivory towers of data protection in one pillar and freedom of information in another, that we're much more joined up and that we're organized with an end-to-end operational process, so that whether it's customer contact or complaint investigation or good practice or enforcement, we're acting in a proportionate way on the evidence that comes in and behaving as a modern regulator should.